Kia ora, me noho tātou. Please be seated. Koutou ngā whānau no te pai tāwhiti, ngā whānau kei rongi tika Māui, kua hara mai nei, ki wainganui a mātou nei. Me tātou katoa waitaho te wai paunamu, nau mai, hara mai I rongi te karanga a mātou nei a tuahuriri. Nō reira, kei te mihi tātou ki a koutou, kia whakanui ai te rā mō ngā tauira kaimui a tātou. Hara mai, nau mai ki tēnei whakapōtaitanga a ngā tamariki, ngā mokopuna, ngā iramotu, ngā tama, ngā tamahine, kei nui a tātou. Nau mai, hara mai, tēnā rā koutou katoa. On behalf of Ngai Tuahuriri and the University of Canterbury, it's a great pleasure on behalf of our tribe to welcome you all here today to celebrate the students and to acknowledge all of those who have come internationally, but also our families, parents, whānau katoa who have come here to celebrate the graduation of our graduates today. It's a pleasure to be here, to participate in this graduation, but also to acknowledge the work that everyone has placed into our students, from the staff, but also to the families here who have supported our students right through their academic careers. And we're here to celebrate. Kia whakanui ai tā rātou mahi kei mui e rātou. Kia ora, whakanuia.
Kia iho o ngā mana, ki te kahui ari ki wairua, ko te manai hei tautoko mai, te arepa te o me ka tautoko hea mai. Te rōpu nei, piri wiri tua, hamu e rā, ka puta ka ora e.
Our kaikiranga has finished the procession, the tikanga and the proceedings for this ritual of welcome. On behalf of us all, tēnā koutou, nau mai haere mai, ka mutu tātou. We've completed our journey. We now hand over to the University of Canterbury. Tēnā rā koutou katoa.
Ka tangi te tiki, ka tangi ka kaka, ka tangi hoki ahau. Tihei moriora, Raurangatira mai, no mai, piki mai, hari mai, ki te whare wananga o Waitaha. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, ki ora tātou katoa. I welcome you to the University of Canterbury graduation and invite all present to stand, remove trenches, and join in the singing the Maori and English versions of the first verse of the National Anthem as in your program and displayed on the screens behind me. Please be seated. Tēnā koutou, kua huahui mai, e te rānei, e te mana whenua, ngā tuhuriri, kei te mihi. Kia ora and welcome to this University of Canterbury graduation ceremony. Ko Sumukoma Kahau, the Chancellor of the University of Canterbury. I am very pleased to be welcoming you all here with us today at the close of this extraordinary year. This is the first graduation I think we've had in the evening, and what a wonderful evening it is tonight. I think we have been exceptionally lucky to hold our graduations, and I think we should be grateful for that having happened, knowing that some of our fellow students throughout the country have been unable to do so. So I hope that you appreciate even more this very special evening. I'd like to start by thanking and acknowledging our Vice-Chancellor, Professor Cheryl Dellaray, who has led us through the COVID-19 pandemic with foresight and empathy. The Council acknowledged the way management and staff responded to the COVID-19 pandemic, who have made personal sacrifices and quickly adopted new ways of working. We thank you all for your adaptability, perseverance, and commitment to our students' learning as you balanced your own research and personal commitments. This year, our partnership with Ngāi Tuhuriri has continued to grow. We are working together to ensure that the university's commitment to and relationship with the Runanga is included in all aspects of university's life, and to provide strengthened educational opportunities for our Māori students. We acknowledge and thank the Runanga for their work in ensuring that this partnership is meeting those needs and building new opportunities for our students. So today is graduation day, which marks the end of your current study at the University of Canterbury. The reason we are all here today is to celebrate your achievements and your hard work, to pay thanks to your lecturers who have taught and guided you and who have supported you in a difficult year to assist your learning off campus and online. It is also a time to thank your family, whānau and friends who have supported you, encouraged you and picked you up when you have needed it the most. We all celebrate your success with you. You are now embarking upon a new journey at work, in future study, or maybe taking some time out to relax. You may have goals or have made plans for yourselves, many of which, with COVID-19, may now be up in the air. But you will be just fine. As modern graduates, you are likely to have more than one job or career in your lifetime. Take the time to reflect and to figure out what your next steps might be. Goals and plans will shift and change, and your destination may not be the first port of call that you always imagined, and that is okay, that is just fine. With that in mind, my challenge to you all is to show the world how your University of Canterbury education and experience has enabled you to develop the skills and the character to make meaningful contributions to your whānau, friends, workplaces and communities. No matter the scale, your kindness, your courage, your academic rigour, your leadership and your passion can be harnessed to make a difference in the world. You have the knowledge and the education to translate your skills into action. Our individual success is only achieved and measured through our collective success. Speak up, have a voice, be honest and open, and do not be afraid. There's a lot to do in the world. You go out and do it. Most importantly, I wish you all fun-filled and wonderful and happy lives. We know how hard you have worked, how committed and dedicated you have been to get to this very special moment. And as graduates, you will now become University of Canterbury alumni. He mihi nui, kia koutou katoa. Congratulations to you all. Well done. I now convene a ceremony of the University of Canterbury for the Confirmative Degrees and the receipt of diplomas. In the name of the University of Canterbury, I, Susan Mary Anna McCormack, Chancellor, now confer degrees in the University upon those about to be presented. I call upon the Deputy Vice-Chancellor of Academic, Professor Catherine Moran, to introduce those who will present the graduands. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa.
I call upon the Dean of Postgraduate Research, Professor Megan McAuliffe, to present the doctoral graduands.
Doctoral degrees are the highest academic qualifications awarded by the University of Canterbury. They are a mark of intellectual ability, critical thinking, and independence. In your graduation program, there is a short description of the research conducted by each of the doctoral graduands. As each walks across the stage, the title of their doctoral thesis will appear on the screen, and members of their supervisory team here on the stage will stand to acknowledge the student's achievement. Chancellor, I have the honour to present these graduands for the conferment of degrees. Doctor of Philosophy and Postgraduate Diploma in Child and Family Psychology, Jenna Rosie Verders in Psychology. Doctor of Philosophy, Annabelle Lucy Marie Ahuriri Driscoll in Health Sciences. Kelly Waiana Tikau in Health Sciences. Ben Musumba Wamamili in Health Sciences. Mark James Francis Wright in Law.
I call upon the Dean of Law, Professor Ursula Cheer, to present the graduands in her school.
Chancellor, I have the honour to present these graduands for the conferment of degrees and the receipt of diplomas and certificates. Master of Laws, International Law and Politics with First Class Honours, Holly Alexandra Faulkner. Gemma Susan Ragg. Bachelor of Laws with First Class Honours and Bachelor of Arts, Gina May Bonner. Austin George Francis Lang. Charlotte Marie Steele. Bachelor of Laws with First Class Honours and Bachelor of Commerce, William Arthur Chambers. Brett Isaac Guinol Cummings. Beth Michelle Donaldson. Ruby May Tinson. Bachelor of Laws with First Class Honours, Alicia Margaret Cotterill. Khalida Pearl Morrissey. Harrison Samuel Eric Smith. Bachelor of Laws with Second Class Honours Division 1, Yu Liu. Bachelor of Laws and Bachelor of Arts, Sylvia Frances Diane Barnett. Matthew Lloyd Boniface. Courtney Martina Broadhurst. Georgia Reed Henderson. Kelsey Ruth Henderson. Thomas Andrew Kennedy. Sophia Jung-eun Kim. Grace Elizabeth McCarthy Raw. Karina Mercedes Angel McGillivray Seaton. Caitlin Shona Rose McManus. Fatima Elizabeth O'Sullivan. Sarah Jane Plom. Jamal Abdullah Poland. Meg Eliza Rutherford. Brigitte Lucy Simpson. Rachel Sarah Ann Sentivanli. Jessie Ann Thurlow. Hannah Rose Warburton. Emma Catherine Wong. Bachelor of Laws and Bachelor of Criminal Justice, Julia Wendy Chamberlain. Grace Nicole Gardner. Maria Hayes. Oliver Charles Douglas Lee. Henry Joseph Christopher Muskie. Oliver Mark Lloyd Payne. Krishnundini Devi Turner. Bachelor of Laws and Bachelor of Commerce, Harriet Jane Crisford. Samuel Charles Lester. Vladislav Matviets. Moira Catherine McConnell. Caleb James McGrath. Henry Cooper McManus. Sophie Jane Mitchell. Olivia Gardner O'Neill. Reed John Prinsip. Andrew David Reed. Georgia Vandenhoven. Bachelor of Laws and Bachelor of Science, Lethan Yu. Bachelor of Laws and Bachelor of Sports Coaching, Matthew Fitzgerald Bassett McClurg. Bachelor of Laws and Certificate in Criminal Justice, Lara Melissa Stevens. Bachelor of Laws, J. Alan Atkin. Rebecca Emma Barclay. Harriet Lucy Bevan. Duncan Abraham Bickley. Abby Claire Borrows. Emma Catherine Brooke. Harris Shayla Carpenter. Jessica Teresa Cavill. Florence Abigail Claridge. Kelly Marie Clark. Anita Kara Konyu. Harrison Samuel Cooper. Braden Lee Gordon Roy Drummond. Tui Halafatai Raymond Elwood. Connie Rebecca Ewan. Guy Sutherland Greenslade. Mohammed Hamid. Holly Hampton Hall. Amy Louise Hardy. Alexandra Morgan Harding. Blaze Anthony Harkis. Lucy Alexandra Hawkes. Benjamin Matthew Liam Hawthorne. Samantha Marie Frances Healy. Greer Anna Hadley Herbison. Bronte Mai Hermanson. Rhiannon Elizabeth Jones. Dale Margaret Lawler. Alexandra Carson Lee. George Gordon Rangikafiti Leonard. Joshibed Diamoy Mabaza. Dara Connor McGregor. Josh Flanagan McKeach. Demi Rose Macquarie. Fionn Altry Merchant Williams. Guy William Mickelson. Sophie Nicole Parr. Caroline Ruth Pearson. John William Neville Phillip. Neethi Prachanket. Kezia Jade Purdy. Rushdi Ariana Rabusa. Mitchell Brent Rainbow. Bodine Alice Robertson Wright. Natalia Patricia Sampson. Lloyd's Divinagracia Scully. Finn Letitia Seelan Smith. Marijo Sevilla. Liesel Senga Saybold. Sophia Bridget Ann Shammy. Serena Ann Sears-Fusion. Talia Grace Sia Tonga. Bradley Francis Simmons. Rachel Jan Jade Tan. Elise Grace Audrey Wilson. David William Alexander Wilson. Bachelor of Criminal Justice and Certificate in Languages, Paris Zoe Porter. Bachelor of Criminal Justice, Hayden Mitchell Ali. Tuhodor Trent Thomas Aubrey. Lachlan John Beattie. Connor James Bennett. Joseph Hemi Tairoa Benny. Jasmine Andy Bentley. Joanne Sheridan Berg. Jessie Marie Bliss. Rebecca Louise Booth. Adam Patrick Cantillon. Jessica Kate Clark. Josephine Nicola Coleman. Alicia Mary Rose Craig. Megan Elaine Crawford. Is it Elsie? Elsie Frances Aroha Ruth Crop Vaime. Michaela Lee Edgerton. Geneva Isabel Forrest. Zion Han. Marshall David Hanna. Bryce Ethan Harwood. Maya Rose Hegarty. Nathan Robert Hepburn. Rebecca Herman. Duncan Richard Hollings. Alexandra Hopkins. Samuel Joseph Howes. Lydia Mary Jackson. Lydia K. James. Melissa Jane Jessup. Emma Courtney Johnston. Taryn K. Teota Jones. Koreti Ketty. Olivia Greta Angela Kimpton. Melissa Kisper. Alicia Marie Mackenzie. Morgan Gwendolyn Margaret Manhire.
The music interlude. It is my pleasure to introduce performer-composer Raku Kurano. Rakuto is a completing Bachelor of Music student who has majored in both performance and new music at UC's Te Kurupuru School of Music this year. Here is what Rakuto has said about his recently released single, Fantail in Tokyo. A fantail wanders into the city of Tokyo, a busy city that never goes to sleep. Flying between the high-rise buildings, the fantail explores the city. Will it call Tokyo its new home? Please welcome onto the stage Rakuto Kurano, joined by Thomas Hernick, Jonathan Tanner from the Christchurch Symphony Orchestra to perform Fantail in Tokyo.
Sydney Murray Taiave Manu. Courtney Marie Matic. Paige Jessie Ray Ritchie McGrath. Amanda Nicole McKenzie. Emma Jane Mackay. Caitlin Elizabeth Mates. Luke Demetrios Maymaras. Rachel Kate Milne. Samantha Jane Morgan. Hayley Margaret Muir. Michael Langley Murchison. Heath Sterling Murphy. Sarah Lila Oz. Justine Nicole Owen. Ella Page. Mitchell James Parks. Eleanor Jade Parkinson. Annabelle Amelia Payne. Emerson May Drennan Perker. Geraldine Mary Prisk. Alana Jane Quinlivan. Tessa Marie Lee Riley. Alistair Simon Ricks. Phoebe May Roberts. Catherine Louise Rose. Gemma Ann Kathleen Roach. Jordan Trent Shearer. Raven Julia Smith. Ariana Tyler Rossiter Spears. Molly Joan Stapleton. Hayley Ann Stewart. Erina Rachel Temoana Nui. Jamie Lorraine Temoana Nui. Cassidy May Trotter. Nathan Johnston Walker. Sam Alexander Wallace. Amber Jane Wells. Alexandra Lorraine Emily Wilson. Mary Ennis Wilson. Sarah Wu. Olivia Jane Zandbergen. Certificate in Criminal Justice, Anthony Feliano Gomez. Jamie Louise Rossiter.
I call upon the Dean of Education, Health and Human Development, Dr. Sarah Lovell, to present the graduands in her college.
Chancellor, I have the honour to present these graduates for the conferment of degrees and the receipt of diplomas and certificates. Master of Health Sciences with distinction, Crystal May Short. Master of Health Sciences, Professional Practice with distinction, Ana Carolina Campagnoli dos Santos. Catherine Marie Dunbar. Michaela Jasmine Dyer. Katie Ann Graves. Farhana Islam. Vanessa Jane Meehan. Gareth Daniel Pratt. Daniel Michael Rooney. Master of Health Sciences, Professional Practice with Merit, Navin Deo. Mallory Kate Glue. Natalie Ann Hosking. Tanya Patricia Tooley. Anne Mai Trong. Master of Health Sciences, Professional Practice, Claire Althea Pierce. Mona Zoe Tansinko Perez. Taylor Louisa Olive Smith. Liesel May Masanya Tan. Renee Crystal Tronga. Master of Counselling with distinction, Georgina Lucy Cuttance. Judith Barbara Wooten Griffiths. Amanda Christine Hannafin. Raisha Ismail. Pearl Chloe Ratana Kinajal. Alice Louise Mann. Renee Santich. Marianne Susan Skidmore. Louise Ann White Pawson. Master of Counselling with Merit, Emma Jane Field. Erica Brooke Turnbull. Master of Counselling, Luisa Catazane Ramos. Postgraduate Diploma in Health Sciences, Monica Purohit. Isala Vakamakawai. Bachelor of Health Sciences, Morgan Amy Carey Ashworth. Joni Sophia May Brand. McKinley Elizabeth Breen. Laura Rose Petrie Brown. Meg Allen Dutton. Sophie Emma Ann Alstob Bradwell. Caitlin Holly Evans. George William John Haswell. Isabella Victoria King. Joshua Roy Knight. Georgina Rose Lee. Bree Sarah Mackenzie Simpson. Kate Mary Magan. Zilla Poga Manipuhi. Ella Jane Newey. Josiah Thomas James Plogue. Eden Maria Ronald. Holly Ann Singh. Nicola Helen Taylor. Robin Claire Thomas. Jordan Nicole Wagner. Ruth Webster. India Ty Wellesley. Tanika Maria Wikitene. Makia Muhammad Yusuf. Postgraduate Diploma in Sports Science with Merit, Disha Deepik Padishi. Postgraduate Diploma in Sports Science, Bhumika Varandani. Bachelor of Sport Coaching, Amira Abaza. Brittany Rose Aldridge. Anaru Ian Anderson. Holly Rose Baxter. Caitlin Beer. Stanton Edward Bell. Nathan Robert Raymond Brinson O'Day. Moses Karatana Bygate Smith. Katie Isabel Cameron. Grace Juanita Joy Chalice. Alexander James Coldheart. Lily Charlotte Darcy. Deanna Jane Diamante. Jasmine Daphne Dodemaid. Jenna Duplessis. Angus James Folks. Harrison, France. Mitchell Grant. Petria Alana Haig. Lee Ian Harborn. Rian John Harris Lynch. Chelsea Dawn Hawthorne. Nora Ann Fatima Kwok. Matthew David Lancaster. Curtis Aaron James Lindsay. Jacob James Mulholland. James Thomas Orrit. Jacob Raymond Pepper Edwards. Olivia Ann Phipps. Jacob Connor Richards. Zachary Riley. Isaac Joseph Robinson. Dylan Thomas Smith. Alma Maya Matias Soliano. Sean Matthew Stagg. Abby Rose Stokes. Nicole Faye Stewart. Faiz Ahmed Shah Saeed. Vicky Elizabeth Taggart. Bangimarie Sheridan Yvonne Te Otama. Aliyah Jessie Maria Afton Tangaroa. Lucy Margaret Walker. Oliver Berak Sherwood Wall. Bronte Jennifer Wooding. Ahmad Hani Yusuf. Si Chang Zhao. Carly Louise Sagmont.
A University of Canterbury graduate with a Bachelor of Laws and a Bachelor of Arts with a double degree in Māori and Indigenous Studies and Psychology, Jamie Lee Tuuta started her legal career working for Te Runanga o Ngāi Tahu here in Ōtautahi, Christchurch. Appointed to the Waitangi Tribunal as a registrar and lead legal advisor after working in private practice for Brands Geeson McCormick, Jamie Lee currently works for the Royal Commission of Inquiry into Abuse in Care, co-leading the Māori investigation. Jamie Lee has been involved in Te Ohu Whakatika, a group formed to convene a hui Māori on justice reform that informed the Hapaitia Criminal Justice Reform Program by the government and authored the Inaia Tonu Nei report, which was released publicly in 2019 on behalf of Te Ohu Whakatika, highlighting issues within the current justice system and providing recommendations for reform. Just a few months ago, we were thrilled to see Jamie Lee appointed co-president to Moaki Wahine of Te Hungaroa Māori o Aotearoa, the Māori Law Society. She is the first UC law graduate to be elected to this role in the organisation's history. Assembled guests, please join me in welcoming Jamie Lee Tuta to the lectern.
Ena mana, ena reo, ena kārangatanga maha, tēnei te mihi. Ka huri ngā mihi kia koutou ngā tauera, ko eke e tēnei rā ki te taumata me ki o te mātauronga. Tēnei rā taku mihi nui kia koutou katoa. Ka huri hoki ngā mihi ki te mana whenua o nai toi huriri, tēnei koutou. Tēnei koutou katoa. Ko waio, he uri tēnei no nai tahu, nā te mūtanga wharekore, me nā te tō rangatira, ko Jamie Lee Tuta tōku ingoa. First, I'd like to mihi to you all as the graduates of 2020. For many of you, your achievements today are those that your grandparents, parents and whānau have always dreamed about. Many of you will be the first in your whānau to finish high school. Many will be first in your whānau to attend university. That is a significant achievement that should never be underestimated. Although you may be the first in your whānau to achieve this, the challenge is not to be the last. I'd like to acknowledge you all in Ōtautahi as your experience and road to graduation is quite different to the rest of the country. The last 10 years in our city has been challenging. We had the devastating earthquakes that changed us all. We had fires, we had the horrific event of March 15th, and we're currently living through a global pandemic. Your resilience and your character are built from these experiences, and you all hold experience and skills that no other graduate will have in this country or in the world. The fact that you are here today to receive your degrees is a true testament to your strength, the character of yourselves, and of our community in Ōtautahi. Although you've overcome such adversity, your biggest challenge now lays ahead of you as a newly graduate of the University of Canterbury. You now hold such a privileged space in our communities and in our society, a space of being educated, a space where you now have responsibility to be kaitiaki of the law. Now you'll move into spaces where you'll have the power to influence, the power to make change, the power to lead, and the power to uphold the protections that all our whānau deserve and should have as a right. From a personal experience, I never came to university to become a lawyer. In fact, it's quite hard to believe that I'm here addressing you all today. When I came to UC, I started studying a Bachelor of Arts. I wanted to be a psychologist, but at 20, my best friend was tragically killed. She was a pedestrian who was struck by a boy racer who was speeding at over 100 k's in a 50k zone. The offender instructed a top criminal barrister because his family had the money and resources to do so. Although through his actions he took her life, in return he got 10 months home detention as well as a fine of $20,000. He was allowed to pay back the fine at a reduced minimal fee per week. He was allowed to go to work from 9 till 5 to help him pay this fine. And I remember thinking at the time and at 20 that this didn't feel right. I had so many questions. How could he have home detention but still be allowed to go to work? Why wasn't he charged with manslaughter? If he was Māori, would he have got a sentence like this? The answer to that last question would likely be an easy no. It was a life-changing event that sparked my passion for learning about the law and understanding the systems that were imposed on us by the Crown. I credit my late friend Libby Hart for the reason I questioned our criminal justice system back in 2008, and for the reason I found a passion in law. It is because of her I'm here today, and although now I know that no sentence can ever fully reflect or take away the pain of losing a loved one, what this experience has taught me so far is the system doesn't allow for true healing for anyone, whether you're a perpetrator or a victim. The system does not recognise the harm caused to them or the community due to the events that take place. The system doesn't recognise the wider factors of why offending occurs. Me hoki mai ki a mātou e runga whakaro. This is my 8th year of practicing as a lawyer. I'm still at the start of my career, and I'm learning so much every day. However, the past 8 years have not been easy. It's taken a lot of hard work, lots of sacrifices, and I've been in some of the most uncomfortable and challenging spaces. I've had to confront the realization that so many of those who I interact with and work within the justice system suffer from what they call unconscious bias or a lack of cultural competency. That is their words to describe their behaviour, not mine. My words for some of those behaviours and actions would simply be described as ignorance and racism. My first job was at Te Runango Naitahu. I started there unpaid work. Then they offered me a job as a law clerk over the summer at minimum wage, and then I progressed to other legal work. I learned a lot. I was lucky to be at Te Runango Naitahu during what I call the good days, with Tāmā Solomon at the helm. I was immersed within the presence of influential kaumātua, many who guided me through that time, and was lucky enough to be taught by some of the best, and I acknowledge some of those people who are here today. I then decided to move to Community Law Canterbury after they approached me to help develop their Māori legal team. I remember at the time getting my contract, looking at the salary, and thinking, I can barely survive on this. What am I even doing? However, this role proved to be the best decision I ever made, and this really was the first step into a space of law, which I now know I'm meant to be in. I started working predominantly in the areas of family law, care and protection, care of children, domestic violence, and as well as criminal law. My client base was predominantly Māori, and I mostly did pro bono cases in court. Unfortunately, I met more of my whānau at community law, at court, and in prison than I did when I worked for the iwi. That was a realisation and an experience that was so confronting and still feels so wrong. At community law, we worked so hard to do all the cases that no other lawyers wanted or could do. I built relationships with our Māori NGO providers, and we wrapped around our whānau who were caught in the criminal justice system. I represented them in court, and the NGOs ensured that their life was better at home. Not long after being at community law, I noticed that most of my clients had a story about being caught in the system. Most of my clients had been in child, youth and family, or what is now known as oranga tamariki. Almost all were abused in state care, many uneducated, separated from whānau and separated from their culture. Many just did not know where they were from or their place in our community. I realised working with them, hearing their stories and advocating for them in court, that they were a result of many broken systems which perpetuated structural and systemic racism. In the year I was born, there were incredible reports written and released to the public. One report was He Pānga Hou by Matua Moana Jackson, and the other was Po Te Atatu. If you're a law graduate or one of the many criminal justice graduates today and you do not know about these reports, I suggest you become familiar with them very quickly. Matua Moana's report investigated the criminal justice system's bias against Māori, placing them with a broader context of social, economic and cultural issues that have shaped New Zealand society. However, since the 1988 report, little has improved, and some things have actually worsened in terms of New Zealand's disproportionate incarceration of Indigenous peoples. The rate of incarceration for Māori men has not changed that much in the last 30 years. However, the rate of incarceration of Māori women has risen significantly. Today, Māori women make up 64% of our female prisoner population in New Zealand. We have the highest rates of Indigenous incarceration of women in the world. The statistic is appalling. However, there is one thing that has not changed since 1988. That is the social, economic and cultural issues that have shaped New Zealand society to continue to impact in the way people behave, the way people view offending, and the reasons why people offend. You're probably sitting here wondering why I'm repeating statistics that you probably already know. The reason is simply this. If you do not truly understand your role and your position in society as a newly minted lawyer or a new graduate, you could be doing things, influencing decisions, completing behaviours that continue to perpetuate the cycle of harm to our communities and contribute to those statistics without even realising it. In 2018, I started some work within the criminal justice reform space. I met a really influential Pākehā man who now I consider as a close friend of mine. I knew his name from TV. He held roles within the government as a minister, worked within the police and a lawyer. He'd just spent several months on the road meeting our whānau, listening to kōrero about their experiences in the criminal justice system. Some of the kōrero was just horrific. After our hui Māori for Justice in April 2019, he came up to me and said something that I will never ever forget. He told me that through this process, he now realised for the first time that the previous roles he had held were all roles that were perpetuating horrific outcomes for our most vulnerable communities and unfortunately affecting Māori the most. He was so horrified with this realisation that he vowed to make a commitment to turning this around. That friend still continues to support us in this space, and he is what I call the perfect ally. When he found out the true power that structures and roles had in the justice system, he vowed to ensure that he never was in a situation again where he would contribute to these statistics or behaviours through his professional roles ever again. His experience is one I want to leave you all with tonight. You may not have ever thought before now about the power and influence that you will hold in future positions. However, I want to open your mind to this now, so you can take the steps to ensure that you move into a professional world where you never unintentionally trample on the mana of those who you serve in those roles by simply doing what you thought was just your job. I want you to be like my friend. I want you to open your mind. Go into spaces you've never been before. Talk to people that you never would usually engage with. Continue to learn, continue to understand the systems of our country, and influence change for the better. By doing this, we will create a community that will be more understanding, more inclusive, and a safe and caring place for everyone. And just maybe that 20-year-old person who just lost their best friend would have been able to understand the justice system without having to become a lawyer. To be able to trust a process and know the outcome handed to everyone in court that day was one that would be handed to anyone, no matter who represented them. A process that they would understand the offending, allow for rehabilitation and a pathway for healing for everyone that was affected by any offending that day. In 30 years' time, if I'm ever invited back to speak at a graduation again, I hope that those horrific statistics completely have been turned around forever. Ka te, me wāhau ki konei, nā kitakita kōrero, ko te manu e kai ana, e te mero nona, te nāhere. Ko te mana e kai ana, e te mātauranga nona te ao. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa.
I'm sure you will agree that our speaker at this graduation ceremony, Jamie Lee Tuota, has inspired us by sharing her very cogent and powerful life story with us, and reminding our graduates that with achievement comes significant responsibility to make a positive difference in our society and in our communities. Thank you very much for your address, Jamie Lee. Please join me in showing our appreciation once again. I now invite all our guests to join me in expressing our congratulations to our graduates whose achievements we celebrate this evening. With a qualification from the University of Canterbury, we are confident that you're well prepared for your future career and that you will make a positive difference in our society. In recognizing your achievements, I also wish to acknowledge the contribution of those who have supported you throughout your studies, your whānau, friends, and of course your lecturers and the many university staff who may have supported you sometimes quietly in the background. So to our graduates, let's express our appreciation to all of those who have supported you. For those of you leaving the university, please know that you will always be part of our community. We encourage you to stay in touch with us through our alumni office, and we look forward to seeing you at our future alumni events. Tonight, I'm reminded that at a time when the world seems more unpredictable than ever before, of the words of a well-known author who said, "The horizon leans forward, offering you space to place new steps of change." I urge you, our graduates, to respond and to take up the challenge of our guest speaker and our Chancellor's challenge to apply all you've learned during the time that you've spent with us as a student to contribute to making the world of tomorrow better than it is today. Our very best wishes to you. Ngā mihi nui, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. We have now come to the end of our formal proceedings. In a moment, I shall invite all of us to stand as we sing Gaudiamus. The words can be found at the back of your programs. To our assembled guests, as a way of honoring the achievements of our graduates, I ask all of you, guests, whānau and friends, to continue standing while the academic procession and the graduates leave this auditorium. I now invite you to stand.